Yeah. You can see in here where the sort of standing water has moved debris around. So that sort of boundary between river and forest is a fuzzy boundary in here. It's very much one that goes up and down. And these floodplains are deep, relatively fertile soils because they're being replenished every time you get those silt-laden floodwaters come in. And it is the sort of stuff which was the first to be turned into farming. And that's not unique to New Zealand, but those fertile river deltas where the good deep soil was the first stuff to be put into grass. So just about everywhere else in New Zealand, this land would not have tall trees on it, it would have dairy cows. So the most fertile land was turned into dairy farming. And this was scheduled, this valley was surveyed, and I think it was divided up into 17 different farming units, and it was all go until the big campaigns of the 1980s put a stop to it. But it's easy to sort of look at the destruction on the Amazon and say, oh, how can people be so ignorant? But 1980s is not that long ago when we were doing the same thing. In some places it's coming back on the East Coast, so they sort of this bridge was built. The Haast, the wee township that we came through, everything was stopped. I believe at this stage you had the entire lodge at Aotearoa, the other lodge to yourself. I mean, if you were a ringer, you'd spend much time here, aren't you? Should you be fighting this? I did a little bit of time. Doing a good job of sheltering us actually. There's this little dry patch under here. This is a magnificent big old mataī. So the trees through these forests, the tallest ones are all podocarps, so these big ancient conifer family trees. Mataī is not the tallest, but it's one of the most majestic, I guess. So it often has a real sort of spreading form. Incredibly hard wood, so today there's not really any forestry based on these trees, but a lot of the old houses, when you pull down an old house, many of the floorboards are mataī, so it's a very dark wood, very hard wood. It's always very distinctive in the forest because it has this sort of hammer beaten bark, so the little flecks that will come off constantly, which presumably does the job of maintaining a bit of a clean trunk, so stopping things from getting a foothold on there.
You say it's covered in rātā.
Yeah, I mean it sort of seems like it's a bit of a losing battle around here, isn't it, where life sort of grows, there's life on life on life, very little in the way of clean trunks. So lichens on the surface, these ones that Sam mentioned, so these are rātā vines climbing up, so they will start life down low as little vines but then thicken up.
Do they harm the trees?
They don't harm the trees, so they're purely using it as a stepping stone to get up to the light. There is further north in the South Island and up in the North Island, there's one tree, a northern rātā, which will start up there, send roots down and then do the sort of strangulation of the host tree. There's sort of that's North Island thing, it's all a bit nasty up there, but more down here it's all about cooperation and collaboration and working together for
Do they provide any
mutual
benefit then?
Those North Islanders could learn a thing or two.
Do they provide any benefit?
Possibly. I mean, rātā is a really important food source for birds. Some of these birds, which are nectar feeders, are also very good at gleaning insects off trees. So, in terms, I don't know how you go in terms of quantifying net benefit or anything like that, but I think, if you sort of big picture, the more complex the system, the more stable it is. So rātā growing up, there is on the other side here some larger vines, which are actually roots coming down. So this is a puka, which is a broadleaf tree, which has leaves like that, and it starts life in the canopy and sends big roots down. So, and if you go back a few hundred years to when these potokas were an important food source for Māori, climbing the trees to gather the little fruit was a important food gathering exercise. Probably grabbing something that's anchored up above rather than something that's grown its way up would be a safer option. If you wanted to avoid, tumbling from a rather significant height. And keeping
Is it mataī?
that's a miro. So miro is a very close relative, more prolific. Mataī is the real ugly looking little seedling. Sort of looks really scrappy.
Thought that was kahikatea.
Oh yeah. It's scrappy in a different way.
Different scrappy.
Growing on a pretty spindly little branch there. We've got these big leafy lichens. There's moss caught up in there as well. A very clear indicator that the air is very clean. So lichens, as soon as you get any acid rain, any sulphur in the air, the lichens are the first things that grow. This is a not Mesipterus, but a relative, one of these fern allies, and I'm not even going to pretend that I know the name of this one. So,
Oh, so it was interesting.
it was interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look, so that tree fern, which is what, 10 feet tall, it is probably home to 15 other species on there. And there's a big kahikatea down the valley here which has a record for most epi-lock. Pigeon.
Through here. Might be coming a bit down to see it.
Sometimes it's probably hard to get excited about pigeons coming from Delaware, is it? But if you're going to get excited, these are lovely birds, actually, aren't they, Sam? They are
Beautiful.
yeah.
Very rude. Back to it. Well, the app that you can't trust formed a hanging club moss, by the way.
Yeah, I'd say
Big various or something.
yeah. So, that's actually very good that it picked up as a club moss.
Yeah, they're a bit of fun, aren't they? These.
Yeah, they're a little hit and miss, aren't they? So the kiddo, and I know pigeons are, you can say, a pigeon's a pigeon, but I mean, they are beautiful birds in the right sunlight, but you can probably say that about feral pigeons. These guys are really important in the forest because they've got a big mouth, so quite a few of our larger birds have disappeared, and for those trees that have large fruit, so something like a miro, the ones that Sam pointed out, the seedlings, a pigeon's the only thing that can eat a miro fruit, so really important for seed dispersal.
There's a tui coming through. Yep.
It's a large bird on a sort of small branch there, isn't it? And they're real generalists. They'll eat foliage, they'll eat fruit. The fuchsia trees where, the delicate bellbirds and the tuis lack the nectar with their little feathery tongues. The pigeons just come along and they eat the whole flower. So good for seed dispersal, not so good for pollination if your whole flower's being consumed. We saw the giant mataī. That's a juvenile there. So they form these sort of nondescript, straggly things. Very slow growing, so again I'm guessing, but that may well be 20 something years old.
20.
Got all the time in the world, they'll live for 1,000 years plus, so there's no rush, I guess. So, but this is a nice little spot actually, because you have a mataī which is going to grow into the, one of the giants, rimu, with the droopy down leaves, which one of those other emergent conifers, and then the most sort of towering of the lot They are scrappy looking things, aren't they, Sam?
Yeah.
This is a kahikatea, so New Zealand's tallest tree. Again, maybe 20, 30 years old. All of these guys have seeds spread by birds. But just looking at how many little kahikatea are here. So if you look down, there's a teenager, but every one of these little feathery seedlings through here is a young kahikatea. Could be that there's a good perch for birds right above us, but it's probably, this is a kahikatea over here on its actual seed directly down. But yeah, I mean, the attrition rate is pretty high. As you say, there's probably 50 little seedlings on that one little knoll.
What's this one?
These are, you try and recreate in your hothouse garden, but you never get it looking quite so sort of perfect. The younger example where it has all been quite dramatic. Some of these forest trails go down to beach, really because the deer population and I guess that's probably the man pointing out that was it fused stipules for a coprosma. So I will put that in the I do not know category, but I will take a little sample actually because it's good for me. Deer-dominated forests, you get tree ferns and you get coprosmas, but the little forest ferns.
It's not your funny thing that has all different leaves. Every leaf is different, is it? You have up at yeah, on the other track, definitely.
Yeah.
I think I like yours better than yours.
What?
I like your binoculars better than mine.
I told you.
Much more
You should
definition.
have taken
Hmm?
those. I told you should take those.
Yeah.
This is really a scene, not much changed, I guess, from the
You can
New
see
Zealand.
the guy's
when-
face very clearly. Red beak with a white swirl. What's that plant that's like a lighter green, almost a lime green?
Ah,
The one that's kind of jutting out.
Yeah.
sort of coming right down to the water's edge.
Yeah.
That's kiki. So kiki is strappy-leafed as well. We'll probably find out. There's some growing in here. It's a pandanus family. On the way down to Penguin Beach, the last sort of band of forest before you hit the beach was thick. It's this one actually over here. Welcome to swallow.
Hmm?
I'm fine just
Big brown trout as well. Guests from Finland were out fishing this afternoon.
How deep is this one?
This species is very shallow, so I think further up the lake is maybe 20 metres deep, so 60 feet. You could walk from here across where that bird's just taken off from, and it would be probably 5 deep at the moment, so this outlet is very shallow. You imagine the ice coming down here, it's scraped out to a deeper level further up.
Rainbow.
Brown trout from Scotland, Pacific salmon from British Columbia, Pacific Northwest.
So would have there been fish in here?
Yes, I mean the New Zealand longfin eels, which are still probably the dominant fish in biomass. Oh, there was a trout that just jumped clean into the water. And then
I always wondered, I never had any problem understanding why people would believe in spontaneous generation, because it just seems, I mean, the glacier carves this out from, so there's volcano, glacier, water.
Yep.
Where did the fish come from?
Yeah. I mean,
Birds dropping their pregnant fish.
the interesting, the New Zealand fish, almost all have a saltwater vein, so the longfin eels go to Tonga, Fiji, somewhere way into the Pacific to spawn, and then the glass eels come back. Yeah. Galaxids, who are the other big group here, other marine phase as well. Well,
I wanted to try to get the
there's a we'll shoot
Rainbow.
just up here to the beach, which looks right up the lake.
No, I've waited too long. It's kind of fading away. It might come back.
No, we're talking about the possibility of it happening some sort of indeterminate time in the future, don't we, rather than tomorrow or next week. On our walk.
Curiosity. Yeah, I think New Zealand flax is grown in various places. I think it's grown certainly in the UK. A lot of seeds you can just buy them off the shelf and take away, isn't it? I mean, so it depends on the other side of what you can bring in. What you can bring back, from home. Yeah, and we forget that, of course. Another massive old laden with heavy bites, layers of units, massive rainbow. That was reasonably fun. I don't know that it was particularly profitable. I was 3 when we first moved here, and Dad talked about maybe here in the way the bait was formulated. Not perfect, but pretty good. Hard to argue with the results. That's right, and I think where you have this sort of continuous they can fly up to the mountains in the autumn when the project is pretty there, and they can come in in the springtime. And the birds that have no doubt will be impacts are going to be across a tiny proportion of the forest floor.
Plus, I would think in an area like this, I mean, this has got to be really healthy soil, really healthy microbes and stuff.
Well,
And
there's
the
little
bacteria,
berries.
the
Yeah.
bacteria will keep any pathogens and stuff.
I haven't seen those before.
It's healthy.
Yeah,
They have
yeah,
a
I mean,
lot of
even if
healthy
you-
bacteria and
So you have something
stuff.
which blitzes everything within a foot. It's going to be very quickly sort of. And we've got down there a little nertera. So again, coffee family. One of the few splashes of colour in the forest. You know, reds and it's sort of hard to come by. These are the ones. My daughter's favourite thing about coming to Lake Moeraki is going and looking for ruby berries. So they'd be very
What you call them, ruby
ruby
berries?
berries. Yeah. Be very exciting. So a 6-foot tree, and it has lifted up the sort of root plate. But it's been there for maybe 10 years, so it does take a while.
In the more northern forest, this would be great.
That's not native, no. And it's interesting, the only places where you get, that might be a bit of ragwort up there, tree fuchsia. Yeah. What is it, the world's largest fuchsia?
Made of plants or plastic?